heard my voice, but it was almost like it was really low and seemingly far away. So I wasn't sure it was my voice. I didn't know for certain, but like I just felt like it was me talking. Hello? It was so much louder and so much closer than what I was hearing before. So it's like, it scared the crap out of me. Hello?
There are quite a lot of cryptids that are known for mimicking voices. The Wendigo, which can mimic the voice of a loved one to try and lure you to them. There's a Bubak, which mimics a baby's cry, same reason, to trick you into coming closer.
The Pope Lake monster of Mud Creek, that's known to mimic the voices of family members that ultimately will lead you to a bridge, and then once you're on the bridge, a train comes through and you end up jumping to your death.
It's a very common power in mythology.
But is voice mimicry limited to just cryptids?
Hello?
When a human-sounding voice seems to be repeating things that she says, it takes it out of that sort of realm of this being a cryptid animal. It becomes more of a paranormal spirit demon type of a question.
I've had cases where I've gotten EVPs that I hear someone's voice and I said, oh, that was
Alice.
you. And that person was nowhere near. That person wasn't even in the building. Yet their voice was on the recorder. Now, how did that happen? Mimicking.
Hello?
Having had enough of the creepy late-night visitor, they rented out the house and moved away. After a few weeks, the friend they rented to reported back to them with some news.
He and the neighbors have both said that every piece of activity that was happening has stopped since we moved.
Then, a sudden, terrifying realization. The Clarks' mysterious stalker might have moved with them.
My car alarms started going off every night between like 3 and 4 a.m. Despite the fact that there's like 20 plus other cars parked out there, only my car alarm goes off. And then we've been hearing this like abnormal scratching on our back wall.
Just like a house could be haunted, sometimes a person could be haunted. And no matter where they go, no matter how many times they move, that attachment will follow them.
Hello?
I think they have to bring this to an end. They can't just say, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. So something has to be done for them to figure out what this thing is.
The Paranormal Toolbox is filled with many items and things that are designed to help lessen energy or clear up negative energy. If you're talking sage, that's there to clear negative energy. If you're talking holy water, that's more of a blessing and is connected to your faith. If it's taking domain of your house just by asserting yourself in a manner that says you are not allowed to be here, that's your own energy enacting upon the location. So it could be many different things, and sometimes you need to try all three.
Coming up, terror at the door, and it's trying to get in.
You're scaring the hell out of me and my family. You need to stop it.
California Dreaming.
My name is Austin James. As a musician living with diabetes, finger sticks can be a real challenge. That's why I use the Freestyle Libre 2 system. With a painless 1-second scan, I know my glucose numbers without finger sticks. Now I'm managing my diabetes better, and I've lowered my A1C from 8.2 to 6.7.
Take the mystery out of managing your diabetes and lower your A1C. Now you know. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Nurtec ODT is the only medication that can treat my migraine right when it strikes and prevent my next attack.
Don't take it allergic to Nurtec. Most common side effects in less than 3% are nausea, indigestion, stomach pain.
Treat and prevent all in one.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor, then double seal every slice for freshness. The results? They speak for themselves. Hillshire Farm, made right on the farm. Core Power helps you recover and build lean muscle, fueled by 26 grams of high-quality protein to give your body what it needs when it needs it. Core Power.
Sweet tarts.
Candy, that's just one thing. When I got Sweet Tarts ropes that are both sweet and tart, don't you want something that's
Hello.
I do.
Don't mind my parrot. I won't mind her either if she stops trying to eat my hair and such.
Little girl. Hi, Gecko. Huh? What? A commercial. I know, right? Geico.
Cooler place. Kesimpta was proven superior at reducing the rate of relapses versus Aubagio. And when it's ready, it takes less than 1 minute of
Get a dog, they said. It's nothing like having a cat.
And tell your doctor if you have
Any of the hiccups? Cool.
Kesimpta can cause serious side effects, including infections. While no cases of PML were reported in RMS clinical trials, it could happen. Tell your doctor if you had or plan to have vaccines, or if you are or plan to become pregnant. Kesimpta may cause a decrease in some types of antibodies. The most common side effects are upper respiratory tract infection, headache, and injection reactions. Ready for a once-monthly treatment with dramatic results? Ask your doctor about Kesimpta today.
Your spirit is stronger than your highs and lows. Your creativity can outshine any bad day because you are greater than your bipolar 1, and you can help take control of your symptoms and ask about Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Once daily Vraylar is proven to treat depressive, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Full spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol, weight gain, and high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, may occur. Movement dysfunction and restlessness are common side effects. Sleepiness and stomach issues are also common. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. You are greater than your bipolar 1. Ask about Vraylar and learn how AbbVie could help you save.
I'm Jack Osborne with... Thursdays at 10 on Travel Channel.
Perhaps the most inherently sinister aspect of paranormal phenomena is its utterly indiscriminate nature. To be sure, that rickety old mansion at the end of your street, covered in vines, cobwebs, and memories, might just in fact be haunted. But so could anything and anyone else for no reason at all. And even the most innocuous activity, like say, taking a shower, can trigger an interested spirit. No one knows that better than the family of Brittany Michaelis.
The door is still shaking.
Michaelis, who lived with her family in Tenino, Washington, had begun to pick up on a particularly bizarre phenomenon related to her little sister that finally forced their mother to take action.
Whoever it is, you're scaring the hell out of me and my family, and you need to stop it.
Her name is Brittany, and it was my mom who filmed the video. About 10 years ago, we moved into the house that we lived in. My little sister, every time that she would get in the shower,
Yes, honey.
the door would start rattling. It wasn't that hard at first, that noticeable, but over time it got what sounded like louder or harder.
You guys aren't touching it. Okay, I had to make sure that my kids weren't touching it. It's okay, honey.
Ghosts seem to like manipulating doors, windows. It doesn't take a lot of physical force for them to do it. And if you believe in poltergeists, sound is really what they're trying to achieve. They move things specifically so that they can make a sound.
It happened with me once and with my other sister once. But my little sister, almost every time for a good year, almost every time. It was the weirdest thing.
It's funny that this only happens when the youngest daughter is taking a shower. Perhaps this entity is somehow attached to her, or wants to be around her all the time.
It's okay, honey.
Obviously, young people have a lot more energy than us old folks. I think everyone can attest to that. And because of that, ghosts may attach themselves to said young person to drain their energy to be able to communicate with the real world. In this case, this ghost wants to communicate via the door.
So Brittany's mom set up an age-old system to get some answers.
Okay, I need to ask questions. Can you shake the door once for yes, two for no?
When the mother used the door as a tool for communication, she set guidelines. Shake once for yes, twice for no. She established exactly how she's going to use the door, and then she used it.
I need to ask questions.
To have questions answered. Now, this is Paranormal Investigating 101.
Are you friendly? Do you want us out of the house? Does anybody in my family know you? No? Nobody in my family knows you?
Back in the early spiritualist movement in the mid 1800s, the Fox sisters, upstate New York, who sort of started the spiritualist movement, they would communicate with people just through knocks on the wall, knocks on the table, knocks on the floor. So yeah, that's old school communication in the paranormal field.
Intrigued and a little spooked, Brittany and the rest of her family crowded around the other side of the door to listen to the back and forth.
We don't know you. Hold on again. You didn't touch the door.
No, I moved the dog from the door. It was really scary because, I mean, we were all just watching and it was, I don't know, it still gives me the chills.
And after several minutes of questioning...
Are you a male? No, are you a female?
And several specific guesses.
Is it Grandma Phyllis? No. Is it Grandma Dina? No.
Brittany's mother finally determined what she believed to be the identity...
Okay, so you're a female.
...of the mysterious spirit.
Janelle? It's Janelle. My cousin Janelle. Are you kidding me?
Janelle actually died not long after my second sister was born, around 93. Janelle used to always pick on my mom. She would always mess with my mom when after I was born, Janelle decided to bring over a giant big bird that made a lot of noise just to annoy my mom. She loved it.
But is there a chance the spirit was not exactly telling the truth?
Are you a female?
Brittany reluctantly suspects that may be the case.
I think that it was mimicking her or pretending to be her or something.
Janelle?
I just have the oddest feeling that it was just pretending, just in some way to mess with her.
My cousin Janelle.
Or something because Janelle was one of her favorite cousins.
Well, if you pay close attention, early on in the video, they actually asked the question, is this a family member or do you know our family? And the entity answers no to both those questions.
But does anybody in my family know you? No? Nobody in my family knows you?
So, in my mind, whatever this thing is, if it is an entity, is lying through its teeth.
Regardless, Brittany and her family decided not to stick around long enough to find out for sure.
Moved out of that house 4 years ago, and it hasn't happened since that particular house.
But the question remains, why was one particular family member the subject of this haunt?
If this only happens when that one girl's in the shower,
Yes, honey.
that means that she's being targeted.
It's okay, honey.
Usually when you have inhuman haunts, which tend to lie about their identity a lot of the times, they target specific beings in the family because they have a trait or an attribute to them that they could feed off of. And in this case, the little girl seems to be fearful of this energy. And just like a lot of inhuman energies kind of start out, it feeds off of fear.
It would scare my little sister enough. She felt like she was being almost punished for something, and she didn't know what she did wrong.
Door is still shaking.
What should you do in the event you witness something paranormal? Here are some tips to get it all on camera. Don't be afraid, but know when it's time to go. Keep a safe distance from the monsters. Trust unlikely sources. And if you do catch something, email us at submitparanormal@gmail.com and connect with us on social media. Your footage could be seen right here on Paranormal Caught on Camera. Next on Paranormal Caught on Camera. In a haunted jail, a phantom prisoner tries to drain the life energy from a ghost hunter.
I feel cold. You said I feel cold and it touched your hand at the same time.
Whatever the entity is like sucking like the life right out of him.
Could this be the ghost of Pablo Escobar, going down with his former mansion?
To be present in that moment, in that particular place, is just perfectly poignant.
A local legend gives a British man the fright of his life.
A head, a face, eyes, a mouth.
A speeding UFO gets perilously close to an airliner.
We know that no piloted human craft, either military or otherwise, would fly that close to another plane.
And even more paranormal footage you have to see.
That is weird.
To believe. The old Joliet prison in Illinois was opened in 1858 and quickly earned a notorious reputation for its overcrowded, unsanitary, and dangerous conditions. The prison finally closed in 2002. And after years of neglect, the city acquired control of the property in 2017. They began leading historic walking tours through the prison. But many paranormal enthusiasts wondered about the darker energy that may have been left behind, and whether there were any spirits lingering in the halls. Then, in March 2019, the city allowed 2 ghost hunters the opportunity to investigate the prison, and what they experienced chilled them both to the bone.
A place like a prison harbors all sorts of paranormal activity. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense. You've had murders, you've had people that spent their entire lives here, injuries, sadness, despair. All this energy is taking place in these buildings, sometimes for hundreds of years on end. So it's no surprise to me that there's some, energy hanging on to the building.
Now, the interesting fact about this prison is that it was built on top of an old limestone quarry site. Limestone is very porous, almost like a stone sponge. I like to call it like nature's tape recorder, because if there's any type of energy in the environment, good or bad, it's gonna keep that resonance there forever, for a long, long time. It's super absorbent of electromagnetic energy.
An Illinois paranormal investigating team, David Scott and John Stevens, were the lucky 2 who, for the very first time, were given permission by the prison to search for paranormal activity.
My name is David Scott. I shot this video in Joliet, Illinois at the old Joliet State Prison.
My name is John Stevens. David and I, together, we are a paranormal group.
I mean, it was cool to be the first people to go in there and conduct a ghost hunt professionally, because the energy and the spirits in there is still so raw.
Just imagine spirits at a location and they've had nobody to connect with all these years, and finally a group of people come in and they're open-minded and they're willing and they're asking the right questions and they're in the right frame of mind.
David and John made their way through the prison, and when they got to the death row and solitary confinement wing, they took out their spirit box and attempted to make contact with whatever might be in the space.
These guys are using an SB7 spirit box. Now, this was specifically designed for paranormal investigating. Now, what it does, it it sweeps through the frequencies trying to pick up on paranormal energies.
How many spirits are in here with us right now?
I definitely felt the energy of a lot of spirits, people watching me, very curious.
Anyone ever die in this building?
They seem to be getting a lot of hits. They seem to be getting responses to their questions. They seem to be getting a steady interaction.
I feel a spirit standing in the doorway. People in. Can you tell me what your name is?
They're asking, you know, who's here with me, like, and getting name responses like Calvin.
I heard Calvin. I thought this was really impressive because of the clarity of the EVPs that you're getting.
I heard Calvin.
Encouraged by the contact they were making, John and David decided to try a different building and walked across the yard to the hospital, which housed the X-ray room. Once inside, John lay down on the table.
How many of you laid on this table? 100. 100. Yeah.
I got on the table because David and I, we had figured that we would rile up the spirits maybe, to try to get them to interact with us.
When investigating, it's a popular technique to try to put yourself physically in the situation. It's a way of putting yourself in that position, hopefully making communication easier.
Somebody just touched my hand.
I did feel somebody touch me on the hand, I think. It was just like a light swipe. And it was kind of cold. That's all.
What is your name? It's a woman. Did a woman just touch John? Calvin. Woo! Calvin's following us around.
We heard the name Calvin twice. We were actually in a completely different part of the prison when he said his name again. 2 times, the same name came through. That's kind of incredible, as it is.
Twice they got the name Calvin. It seems really interesting to me that it would land on the same frequency twice, and you would get the same name twice.
I gotta get out.
David and John went into the room next door and set up their next piece of high-tech paranormal equipment, a modified Xbox Kinect camera, one of the newest tools used by paranormal experts to detect entities, to see if they could further communicate with Calvin. The camera uses an infrared light to detect motion in the room, and then displays a 3D image of the capture on the screen. Paranormalists believe spirits can be picked up by infrared cameras, so their energy can also be monitored.
The idea is that if there is an energy around you, the Kinect system will be able to also articulate that in a visual way that we could see on our monitors.
And what the camera captured was truly eerie.
Holy, it's behind you now. Turn around real slowly.
The blue humanoid figure in the center of the screen is John. Now, look to the left side of the screen as the camera maps out another presence, seen here as a green humanoid form.
You can sort of see a humanoid shape with the lines and the dots, and it's showing you something that you cannot see with your own eyes. And to me, that's always very scary.
Hi. Steady right in front of you. Yeah, right there.
I was directing John. I was telling John kind of where the spirit was because John can't see what I'm seeing. I'm looking at the screen. He's just seeing pitch darkness.
It's touching your hand. It's cold right there. It's touching your hand. I feel cold. You said I feel cold and it touched your hand at the same time.
I started feeling a cold spot, like, towards the right side of me, and I guess I had reached out my right hand. It felt like energy was touching my right hand, and it was really cold, and it was taking out, like it felt like it was draining me, the energy out of me.
You can actually see it's like whatever the entity is like sucking like the life right out of it. It was pretty fantastic.
It's getting bigger and stronger. It grew.
David wanted to press on with the investigation, but by then, John had had enough and needed to stop.
All right. No, don't move.
were able to see that. He felt really sick, nauseous, and so at that point, he left the room.
And I had felt the spirit like draining my energy and manifesting itself to become stronger and bigger. And I actually felt that. And I was like, whoa, you know, I was like, wow. You know, I have to get out of here.
You must stay here.
Alright, it just disappeared.
You're not allowed with me.
Anytime you have interaction with spirit, there is a risk of an attachment. When you're trying to interact with the unseen, that danger is always a possibility. It always exists. So you have to be careful. You have to stay guarded.
David and John left before confirming who it was that was touching John that night. But David thinks he has a good idea.
The fact that we were communicating with a spirit named Calvin 2 times in 2 different locations leads me to believe that it might have been him. And the aggression we were feeling was him pretty much in the final act trying to really communicate with us or attach himself to John. Maybe he wanted to leave.
It's touching your hand, Wallbreaker. It's touching your hand.
Coming up, a glowing trail of orbs lights up the South Texas sky.
Oh my God.
And across the state, this video stuns a top UFO expert.
That is weird.
Think whether
When you're hungry, you're not gonna let 5,000 feet of mountain get in your way. And if
Hello, thank you for the follow.
exceptionally capable all-wheel drive SUVs is for. After all, we take this pretty seriously. The SUVs and the dinner.
Your mission, stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis or active psoriatic arthritis and take it on with Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that tackles pain, stiffness, swelling. For some, Rinvoq significantly reduces RA and PSA fatigue. It can stop irreversible joint damage. And Rinvoq can leave
Tired today.
or almost clear in PSA. That's Rinvoq relief.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood
I've been kind of running around like a chicken with its head cut off today, though.
death, heart attack, stroke, and tears in the stomach or intestines occurred. People 50 and older with at least one heart disease risk factor have higher risks. Don't take if allergic to Rinvoq, as serious reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Ask your rheumatologist about Rinvoq relief. Rinvoq. Make it your mission. Learn how AbbVie could help you save on Rinvoq.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Yep. So zenned out, I'm about to fall asleep.
What kind of person would come here at 5:45 a.m.? Well, there's Carly, a carpenter, just like her dad. There's Juan. He's building a house and a better life. Lamar needs a torch for welding school. Ed's putting in a pool for a friend. That's who's in our parking lot at 5:45 a.m. Real customers made for doing. And at the Home Depot, everything we do for them.
To finally lose 80 pounds and keep it off with Golo is amazing.
I've been maintaining, the weight is gone, and it's never coming back.
With Golo, I've not only kept off the weight, but I'm happier, I'm healthier, and I have a new lease on life.
Golo is the only thing that will let you lose weight and keep it off.
Who loses 138 pounds in 9 months? I did. Goal is a lifestyle change, and you make the change, and it stays off.
Who says you can't get 100% whiter teeth? Try Crest Whitening Emulsion. Remove 10 years of stains in just 4 days. And it's enamel safe for everyday use. Better, faster, 100%
100% whiter teeth. Crest, the #1 teeth whitening brand in America.
Since the 1901 discovery of oil in Texas, many Texans have made a living extracting petroleum in the oil fields. It's a difficult job with unique challenges, where the shifts cover all 24 hours in the day to keep things moving. For the people who work these shifts, it's just another day at the office. And for one such worker, one of those days at the office turned into a night of utter amazement. In 2016, Jaime Santos was working a late-night shift at an oil field in Catarina when some bizarre orbs of light paid a visit.
My name is Jaime Santos, and I was actually the one that took the video that night. One of my equipment got shut off. I noticed that there was a real bright light in the sky, and it didn't look like the moon or anything that I usually see.
The bright light was enough to capture Jaime's attention, but its behavior is what made him scramble to record it with his phone.
Oh my God. I tried reaching for my phone, and I noticed that my phone was not in my pocket. I left it charging in my truck. So on my way back to my truck, I was walking really slow, keeping an eye on it, and it just stayed there. And when I turned around, I actually shined my flashlight at it, and that's when it just like completely disappeared.
Fortunately, once he finally got a hold of his phone, the orbs suddenly reappeared and continued to put on a show.
That's crazy. At first, it was just one light, and then that one flickered out, and then more just started appearing.
Every now and then, you see a clip where you go, all right, this is new. I haven't seen this before. All right, what could be causing this? And in this case, first you just see the typical ball of light, the UFO, and then another light, and another light, and another light, and it seems to be coming from that main source in a line.
That's crazy. I was working in the oil field for 5 years. I never saw any lights like that. I'm used to seeing, planes, jets, helicopters, things like that, shooting stars, but never something like this.
Just looking at it logically, you can say what it isn't. But when you take out all of those other things, what are we left with?
Oh my God.
Well, this one seems to be traveling from right to left and dropping some sort of either flares or molten metal or something that lights up the sky and then quickly disappears. It's very interesting and unlike anything I have seen or recognized.
It's a UFO jalopy, dropping off pieces as it goes.
Its movements. We just don't know what that thing is.
He sent the video to his friends and colleagues in the
It's a 1994 Toyota Corolla jalopy UFO.
What do y'all think it was? And nobody was able to tell me. They just kept saying, oh, it might have been a UFO. I mean, it was a UFO, because I got a bunch of friends in the military. I got friends in Border Patrol and things like that, and they said that the lights didn't replicate anything that a flare would do.
A lot of people that study ufology or have seen these types of lights believe these to be forms of communication, just like a Morse code.
Oh my God.
Incredibly, Jaime found out he was not the only person to witness something peculiar in the oil fields.
There's a bunch of people out there that say that they've seen those lights and things like that. There's actually been a bunch of reportings from ranchers and things like that, a lot of videos that you can find on YouTube, especially in South Texas.
We're not seeing ships or saucers anymore, so it seems like if there is some sort of UFO activity going over Texas, we can argue that maybe the technology that they're using now doesn't require them to use like saucers or spaceships or anything like that, but they're using lights to move about now.
Whatever the lights were, Jaime truly believes he saw something otherworldly in the Texas skies.
This was definitely something out of this world, something that, me, nobody else can explain. And, I think that's pretty cool. That's crazy.
Meanwhile, across the state, a resident of El Paso, Texas, was driving to his job early in the morning when a bright light high above the horizon caught his eye. So he, too, pulled out his phone and started to record the strange sight. The next day, still unsure of what he saw, he submitted the video to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, in hopes that they might be able to identify it. But instead of getting any answers, the video only raised more questions.
That is weird.
On September 1st, 2018, MUFON investigator Melanie Young began researching the case.
My name's Melanie Young. I'm the state section director in Texas and the original investigator for this case. I don't think anybody in MUFON has seen anything like this. They were very impressed with this clip. It was a triangular shaped object. This was at 6:30 in the morning. It was in the eastern sky, about 25 miles outside of El Paso.
That is weird.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that looked like that. Like, it's not an exact triangle. It sort of has like a little bit of like weird curves all over it.
The fact that the sun was behind it, it was bright yellow, and it could not have been the sun reflecting off of it because it was behind the object.
There seems to be light coming from on top of it. It's reflecting from the top of its surface. So either A, it's translucent, or B, it's got its own light source.
Because the object is so large and visible during the day, and we have buildings and mountains so that we could actually judge distance, judge size, and the fact that the pictures were so good. They weren't pixelated, he didn't zoom in, he just took them as he was driving.
That is weird.
It looks humongous to me. It looks like it's super high in the sky. It almost looks like a pyramid. That seems to be a very common shape among UFOs.
I think this guy did an excellent job. He filmed the encounter. He got a decent picture, but I think I would have pulled over and, filmed a little further. Zoomed in a little more. Maybe try to get a different angle or get a little information of what it is he's actually looking at.
Stumped by what it could be, Melanie decided instead to focus on what it most likely wasn't.
Then I went and checked out the weather to make sure there was no thunderstorms or ball lightning and stuff like that. Then I checked out if there were any meteors that day.
My first thought was, well, it's a sun devil, which is a reflection off of a cloud that sort of intensifies it. So at the right angle from the sun, it reflects off of it. It almost acts like a prism. But that doesn't seem to be the case here because that, first of all, it's too perfectly shaped like a triangle to be a cloud. And if it's a cloud, it's the only cloud anywhere that you see on the horizon.
Because the surrounding area has multiple military installations, Holloman Air Force Base, White Sands Missile Range, and Biggs Army Airfield, it is not uncommon to see government craft in the skies. But Melanie is familiar with what those look like.
It's not a stealth because those are black and they're smaller. So it's not that. It's not a jet. We do have the spaceport here. It's not a rocket going into the sky.
It definitely seems to be, I wouldn't say piloted necessarily, but there seems to be a plan to what it's doing. There has to be some sort of intelligence behind what's going on.
The easy explanations weren't checking out. So next, she brought it to a member of the U.S. military.
I talked to my brother who was in the Air Force, and I asked him, look at this clip, what do you think? And everything came back, nothing like this exists that we know of.
Melanie was surprised by the lack of a definitive answer, but excited by the possibility of what that could mean.
It just was so cool and so big that there is just no way it could, in my opinion, be anything that the general public knows about.
That is weird.
Coming up, a spooky apparition appears on a haunted path.
If you don't repaint every now and then, we have to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon's new Welcome Unlimited plan for just $30.
I'm ready for it.
$30? Awesome.
It's their best unlimited price ever.
For $30 a line, I'm switching now.
The network you want, the price you love, only from Verizon. See your your space in a whole new way with NFM's Flooring Visualizer. Simply snap a photo of your room to see the difference new flooring can make in your space. And now, during our Labor Day sale, shop thousands of flooring options backed by our low price guarantee. Take advantage of free all-inclusive installation on Anderson Tough Tex and Shaw Carpet. Get extra savings on Shaw and Anderson Tough Tex carpet and hard surface flooring. Plus, budget-friendly 30-month financing. Find your style and save big at NFM.
This is where you buy things. To make things. You can't buy. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com.
Meet Leon the Third, Leon the Second, and Leon the First of them all. 3 generations who all bank differently with Chase. Leon's saving up for his first set of wheels. Nice try. This Leon's paying for his paint job on the spot. And this Leon, as a Chase private client, he's in the south of France taking out cash with no ATM fees. That's because this family of Leons has Chase.
Actually, it's Leon.
Ooh la la. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
On a day without migraine, my whole body feels free. Because my eyes don't shy from the light, my head doesn't pound, and my stomach isn't nauseous.
It's time for migraine prevention delivered differently through an IV infusion. It's time for Vyepti, a preventive treatment for migraine in adults. Vyepti is designed to start working fast and to last with a 30-minute IV infusion 4 times a year, delivering 100% of the medication directly into your bloodstream. The power of a Vyepti infusion can help to reduce monthly migraine days. Some have fewer migraine days with the very first treatment. Don't take if allergic to Vyepti. Common side effects are allergic reactions, stuffy nose, and scratchy throat. Allergic reactions include rash, swelling, trouble breathing, hives, and redness of the face. Choose to infuse with migraine prevention delivered differently. Talk to a neurologist or migraine specialist about Vyepti. Learn how you can save.
Before treating your chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, you're not the only one with questions about Botox. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they even start, with about 10 minutes of treatment once every 3 months. So ask your doctor if Botox is right for you, and if a sample is available.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 92% of current users said they wish they talked to their doctor and started Botox sooner. Plus, right now, you may pay $0 for Botox. Learn how AbbVie could help you save on Botox.
Season coming soon to HBO Max.
A local legend haunts a small village in Essex, England. According to lore, a young man looking for a shortcut home across the river ran on the railroad tracks instead of walking to the nearest bridge. While on the tracks, he was hit by an oncoming train, which flung him into the river. His body was never found. Since then, many residents claim to have seen a ghostly figure by the pathway between the tracks and the river. Despite the numerous reports of sightings through the years, one man was skeptical of the story, and in 2018, decided to check out the trail for himself. What he discovered was shocking. Originally from London, Rob Wakefield heard the story upon moving to Essex.
My name is Rob Wakefield. The first time I heard about missing village ghosts was actually in a pub, which is where all good ghost stories are told. Personally, I didn't believe the story, but I found myself on that path, in that area, walking my dog one day, and it was incredibly foggy, and so I decided to get my camera out and film, see if I could see anything.
As a paranormal investigator myself, I am fascinated by local legends because no matter what town you go to, a big city, a small little hamlet, the people who live there have some folktale or legend that they love as part of their history, so they like to share it. And I love to investigate.
But if somebody told me that story and I had the time, I would certainly have done the same thing as Mr. Wakefield.
It was mainly just to capture the fog and the atmosphere and the weather, because it was kind of a pretty day, kind of scary at the same time. So that's why I was filming.
I gotta point out that this is a terrifying looking location. It looks like the exact spot I would expect to see some sort of ghostly activity.
It wasn't until I got home that I looked at the footage and I noticed there was something a bit strange. Showed it to a few people who were like, there's a ghost in that picture. But when someone pointed it out to me on the video, it did scare me.
You can clearly see a head, a face, eyes, a mouth. There's an arm and a hand. You can pause this and see that every one of those things very clearly.
It looks like the figure of a young man. You could see through it, but it was distorted a little bit. So yeah, he definitely caught something there.
People I know have taken photos in a location, and then they looked back at it later and then saw very clear figures standing in front of them or near them.
It's a very commonly occurring phenomena that your eyes cannot convey what the camera conveys, which is why we use cameras on investigations, because they tend to be really successful at seeing into spectrums of light that the human eye can't convey. So you'll have phenomena happening in front of you, and you would not know until you review the footage on your camera and see that you have anomalies, captured.
Is this some kind of residual type of haunting where, a lot of emotion, a lot of energy happened there? Somebody getting hit by a train, could imagine that being a terrifying experience. And did all that emotion and all that energy become imprinted at that location? And Mr. Wakefield was lucky enough to catch part of that happening? Seems to be,
As for Rob, this may have been enough to make him a believer, as he has returned to the path with the hopes of another sighting.
I have been back a number of times, never managed to capture anything quite as good on the video though.
Coming up, a UFO is spotted overtaking a jet. Should we be worried?
Somebody's getting ready to walk away with 100 pounds.
When weight kept them down, science helped them soar. When morning kisses turned sour, science made them sweet. When itching kept them up, science helped them rest easy. When the world gave them setbacks, science gave them bounce backs. And when your vet delivered life-altering news, science delivered life-changing nutrition. Phil's prescription diet. Science did that.
The new world is here, my brothers. Beat the family. I'm ready to go to work. James Bond. License to kill.
At Epix today, visit sling.com/account.
His cardiologist said he has a heart valve problem. But, my dad said he's never had surgery.
Same thing happened to my dad. Turns out he's got what we call severe aortic stenosis.
Wait, Grandpa Marvin had surgery?
He didn't. I researched and I found TAVR. It's a procedure that can replace the heart valve without surgery. He actually went home the day after the procedure.
I'm going to talk to my dad's cardiologist and ask him about aortic stenosis and TAVR.
Order your free TAVR information kit at nowismytime.com.
This month on Sling, sit tight for new episodes of your favorite hit shows. Get ahead of the game. Catch the NFL preseason on Sling. Summer of sports on Sling. Watch soccer, golf, tennis, wrestling, IndyCar, NASCAR, and baseball. Sling Preview Weekends. Preview a new streaming service every Friday through Sunday, all summer long. Visit sling.com/preview to learn more. Watch all this and more on Sling.
I run a lap in there, can't believe it's
TommyJohn.com for 20% off your first order with this code.
What about this guy?
This guy's been through a lot.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them. Feed the good. If you don't stain your deck, it's like the previous owner is still hanging around. So today, let's stain with Behr, the #1 rated stain. Get Behr exterior stains at an everyday low price, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Repeat after me. Computer screen off. Happy hour on. One of the best parts about being an adult is we get to call this networking.
Don't miss the end of cable's hottest drama. Animal Kingdom series finale, tomorrow at 9. Catch up now before the shocking final episode. Binge full episodes now on demand in the TNT app.
The management of planes flying through our skies is a very precise and crucial skill that is taken very seriously to ensure the safety of everyone involved in air transportation. The unlikely occurrence of two airplanes flying close to one another would be immediate cause for concern, as it could lead to catastrophe both in the air and on the ground. So imagine one New Hampshire man's alarm when he looked up into the sky at a passing jet and saw a UFO not far behind, gaining speed and closing in. Upon seeing the objects flying in such close proximity, he immediately grabbed his phone and filmed the startling incident.
In this one, we clearly have a man-made jet flying. You can see the contrail, but we don't usually see a second craft flying basically right in the wake of that jet.
We see this different flying object that does not look the same. It does not leave the same exhaust behind as it flies, and it seems like it's able to change its speed much faster than a traditional man-piloted aircraft.
We know passenger jets travel at about 575 miles per hour. So for this UFO to suddenly catch up to it so quickly, it had to be traveling at an incredible speed.
The UFO didn't have a trail. Jet did. Which is odd. I mean, how do you explain that?
We know that no piloted human craft, either military or otherwise, would fly that close to another plane. It's just not safe. It's dangerous. And unless it was an act of aggression of wartime, you wouldn't do it.
You would never have jets in the air like that close, unless you're, doing stunts for an audience or something. This definitely didn't look like a stunt.
Because a military base is nearby, planes do fly over this area quite frequently. But this appeared to be something else entirely.
So many of the people that report this are ex-military themselves, or pilots, or people who know when they look up in the sky, they know what they're looking for, they know what they're looking at.
Incredibly, this was not an isolated event. 8 months later, another unidentified craft was spotted flying suspiciously close to a commercial jet. This time in Saltillo, Mexico.
It's interesting that we're seeing this happening in multiple places, and not even within a few miles of each other, in different countries. It's obviously different planes, but the same behavior. Maybe this is standard operating procedure for a UFO to approach a human craft so that's not detected. Maybe it just happened to enter our atmosphere, enter our reality at this point.
The second smaller one seems to be almost using the contrail as a cloaking device, so it's not seen. And then it actually overtakes the lead craft, the jet, and you can see that there is no evidence of its own propulsion. it seems completely different technology altogether, and the fact that it can just overtake this jet and sort of go out in front as if it had observed it from the back. Now it's going to go and observe it from the front. Very, very unusual.
So this could also just be done, perhaps, as a way to sort of taunt man-made aircraft, you know, just being like, yeah, you all got a plane, but look what we can do. We can, you know, zip around much faster and hit turns at a much different angle than you're able to do. So perhaps this is more of a taunt than anything.
If these acts of daring do are indeed a kind of taunt, then the question must be asked, is this cause for concern?
Is this an invasion? Is this an attack pending? I feel like there's no reason to be fearful. If they want to attack, unfortunately, there's probably nothing we'll be able to do about it. And it'll come fast and with very little resistance.
Coming up, Pablo Escobar's mansion is destroyed. Was his ghost there to see it?
We're heading to the beach for another Twisted Tea drop. We're surprising real Twisted Tea fans who love the smooth and refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Real protein with 5% alcohol. Keep it twisted.
Alright, I think I'm going to stop there.
This summer, meet accuracy.
It's getting there though. Alright, I should be back on Monday, hopefully.